Now, I'm going to move us to a different section now where we all participate. And I want us to go through the polls so that all of us can actually now participate in responding to the questions that we have prepared for you. And I will now close that poll and ask Maggie to take us through the results.
So the first question we asked is, what is the main motivator why teachers want schools to open soon? And the highest percentage was 78%, who are saying that the teachers want the schools to reopen so that they can secure their jobs. The second one is 21%, because they want to work extended hours so that they can cover the syllabus in readiness for the exams. So that is the feedback on the teachers. So the same question was asked about parents and what is the main motivator that parents would like schools to open soon. Highest percentage is 45% for the statement that reads that parents are finding it difficult to supervise their children's virtual learning. The second percentage, or the second reason why parents want schools to reopen schools, is that they are concerned about the quality of learning being delivered by the teachers virtually. That goes to basically point to the fact of what Mr. Indimuli talked about. Teachers, we're asking parents to be teachers overnight, yet they've not been trained for this kind of work.
We can see that all of us really are in a challenging time because we were not prepared for this, we were not trained for this, and we are learning on the go. But you know what? I think we have proved to be pretty good fast learners when you look at those percentages. The question I will address is to Mr. Gadhemia, who spoke to us first. Mr. Gadhemia, what would be your comments on the results that have been posted, that parents are finding it difficult to supervise their children's virtual learning, and they have serious concerns about the quality of learning being delivered by the teachers through virtual learning? What would be your comments on this before we allow Mr. Kimotho to take over?
Parents love their children. They want to see their children excelling. Parents have a lot of trust with the teachers. They have entrusted almost the lives of their most of all education of their children to teachers. They have a total confidence with the teachers, and it is only the teachers who can make it. Thank you.
Mr. Kimotho is somebody who has been a serious person in terms of working on the technology in education and getting prepared for a highly digitized learning environment and world.
Yes, a moment came to us that we didn't expect, but even before that moment came, we are comfortable about the rollout of CBC from grade 1 to grade 3, the presence of books in schools, and the preparedness of the teachers, the passion with parents about CBC that we are comfortable with. And when now COVID came in and we sensed closure of schools, we started preparing ourselves using the platforms that we had previously marked as supplementary, now to come in and help us to ensure that we are able to deliver the curriculum, or at least keep the curriculum delivery mode going on so that we are able to continue as an educated nation. The radio that we were doing only one channel, English service of KBC, is now 40 channels, so that all those channels are able to cover most of the country, and therefore look at it that if there is any gap that is not there, is because maybe someone does not have a radio, or someone lacks batteries, or someone does not want to, because attitude is another thing altogether. But then on the same note, I want to mention about the Edu TV. This is a TV channel that I started. And when we started it, we were looking at delivery of curriculum that requires processes and procedures that cannot be done by radio or otherwise. And therefore we geared up so that the TV channel can now cover all the classes from PP1 to Form 4, and also be able to record the right lessons using the teachers. And this point, let me just mention that DLP, as someone mentioned, where are the devices? Come to KICD. You'll find teachers with those devices being able to deliver the curriculum. And then as we continue, then we ask ourselves, how can we get the devices for the learners to the learners? And therefore covering the curriculum using TV and teaching live lessons And the same note, Communications Authority was able to mark Edu Channel as a free-to-air must carry by all the signal distributors. That helped because it means all the signal distributors, Zuku, Zignet, name it, in Kenya, must carry Edu TV as a must to carry and must be free to air. That coverage also did well. And I just want to mention that in the country, we are looking at 98-99% coverage of radio, and about 54% of Kenyans are seen to be listening to the radio, and this is by Communications Authority, as well as 88.6% also having TV coverage, and the usual listenership and viewership is viewed to be on average 6 hours. So this is good, but we need to continuously carry out surveys, particularly on curriculum delivery, so that we can be able to see how much are we doing curriculum delivery using these methods. So continuing going forward, we'll be using the Kenya Audience Research Foundation to be able to look at this. But quickly, at the end of April, we were able to look at how things are going, just using an online tool, and we were able to look at over 1,200 teachers were able to respond, and they all indicated that they are using the radio and the TV with some percentages. But then we are also noting that because the percentages were over 70%, we need to go and improve that. And then we also asked, what is the quality of the lessons? And from the polls that we got and the respondents we got, it was positive that it is happening. But then nevertheless, that does not mean that we are comfortable that the delivery is 100%. There are gaps that we all need to work towards filling them. We have now free to access digital content. Even the radio lessons that are in the radio are also there in the Kenya Education Crowd so that it can be accessed for free. We have content covering Form 1 all the way to Form 4. We even have content for special needs. This is another innovation that Kenya with the UNICEF innovated, and we were first ones to be able to make a digital content for both hearing impaired and visually impaired. In terms of now looking at teachers having contact with the pupils, and this is the point where we are asking, are public schools ready for e-learning? And on Kenya Education Crowd, we have been able to put in almost 1.7 million students. We started with the Standard 8 and Form 4 and 205,000 teachers. This is using the TSC numbers as well as using the UPI numbers of the learners. And these have been able to continue. And today, as we speak with you, over 900 to 1,000 teachers daily are able to call in their classes and are continuing. And this number is growing. On average, you'll find teachers doing about 1,000 hours a week. There are various challenges that they are having, including data bundles, accessibility, and we will continue to help these teachers going forward so that they can be able to continue. As this world continues, I want to talk about blended learning. Blended learning. We are seeing a situation whereby natural learning and education takes place beyond the classroom. You may find that due to social distancing, we may start with the shifts morning, afternoon, or what is called double track. So, or another localized solution that will fit. But then as we do this, there'll be moments when the face-to-face is not there. And this is the time we see e-learning taking place. And this is what we are calling blended learning, that COVID-19 has come to accelerate. We are not ready to push it as fast as it is, but now we are ready to push it. And the most important thing is, how do we change even the attitude that we have at the moment? How do we roll this out in a sustainable way? How do we ensure that learning using any digital device, a radio, a TV, a mobile phone, any of them, that it will be good? And I want to just paint a picture for us because of the questions that I have had coming through, that what about the people who don't have power? And this is a situation whereby we are coming up with an education device that can be locally assembled in our local assembly plants and maintained using our TVET plants. And this device should become in a way that it can be solar powered and even powered using the grid. When we have this device, we install the content at the assembly point. The dream is that upscaling blended learning, you would have a situation whereby you have an education center and people can go there with social distancing and the rest and learn using any type of device and any time. In a year or two, we shall be there, and we need to engage ourselves to that extent that we are ready and willing to take the blended learning.
Thank you very, very much. And I must say that it was well worth waiting for. We appreciate your patience, and you were worth waiting for, because one of the things that has come out very clearly from the research and also from the insights that are coming through is that part of the lack of use of some of the technology that has already been made available is the lack of training of the teachers. Where's the training component coming in?
The training of teachers, to me, when it comes to use of technology, it is more of the attitude than more so of the skills. In one day, we had over 10,000 teachers going through the course. At the same time, we did one on ICT integration, and it grew up. So technology adaptation is more of attitude and willingness than the basic thing of, can I go to class or can I take a course? Moderator, I just want to ask everybody, who took you to school to learn how to use your mobile phone? Who took you to school to learn how to do business or do M-Pesa using a digital device? If I am a teacher, I use my digital device to teach. If I am a businessman, I use my digital device to do business. And therefore, the training is not a big deal. It's a question of what retro things can we upload, and the teachers can get them anytime. But whenever we do it, let us make sure that it is scalable, that you can access it using a phone, you can access it using all that. Teachers are also very good when it comes to peer-to-peer engagement.
Thank you very much. That's a very good answer, because it brings it down to the reality. You know, your initiative, your interest is what is going to make all the difference. And you're right, because nobody taught us to use a mobile phone, and you can see what we are able to do with our phones. Actually, nobody even taught us how to be on this webinar. We have taught ourselves by trial and error, and here we are, still trial and error. Thank you very much. I've got another question. One of the things that is really making the panel as well as our audience excited is this concept of blended learning, because it actually does flatten the inequalities in education. Could you talk a little bit more about blended learning and what you see as the future of blended learning into the next 5 years, 10 years, post-COVID, you know?
The long-term gain of blended learning is the ability of what I think it is Idimuli who was talking about accelerated learning, that one is able to engage and move in the areas of interest and also move in them fast. It therefore means that the time when one is having face-to-face is like an undivided session. Then the rest of the time one is able to move as a learner at their speed. So the future of blended learning, and the beauty of it is that there's face-to-face that gives a device, and then there's the learner-centered way that engages forward. Blended learning also helps us in what we call inquisitive learning or research-based learning. It gives opportunities for people to be able to engage further with learning and be innovative and creative in their ways. When it comes to Kenya Education Cloud, it is free for all. And therefore, private sector, private schools, welcome, so that we are able to journey the journey together. And we have been able to put this information on the medias that we have, and we know that it is not enough, but we also wish to get partners who can help us spread this further so that everybody can be able to know and benefit. For me, blended learning and CBC are twins, and that is the future.
Thank you very, very much. I also want to point out that from the audience, I can see in the chat group that even Aputuni Nyoike has told us that the Special Needs, Kenya Private Schools Association for Special Needs Subcommittee, she's on it, and they're working closely with you. And so you're covering all the breadth and length of education. Thank you very much. Now, as we come to the close of this very informative and exciting webinar, I've actually really enjoyed myself. I'm learning so much. I'd like to ask our panelists, each one of you, to just give me one sentence, just one sentence. What is it that you see as the one thing that will make the biggest difference for education in the next 6 months, 1 year?
I think in the next 6 months or 1 year, if you will be technophobia, then you'll be declared a dinosaur in education. Thank you.
Kenya is on the move. Please move with us so that we can make learning interesting, and let us use any device, anytime and anywhere for learning and for teaching. Thank you.
In the next 6 months or 1 year, we need a radical change in the Ministry of Education as far as sustainability of programs is concerned to avoid overlaps. Thank you.
So my parting shot, an advice to the education sector: data-driven decision-making to address the COVID-19 impact.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to come to a close. I'll close the webinar. Thank you very, very much for participating, for being such an audience, amazing audience. I know you're very busy people, very powerful people, but you've made the time because you truly believe this is important, and I appreciate that. I'd also like to thank my Happy Place, the team behind the scenes for making it happen, as well as the think tank in education that has facilitated us to ensure that we reached you as the top people in education, and also that we did enough homework to get as much as we can from this webinar. So thank you very much. God bless you. Have a great time. And the future is technology. We are going accelerated, we are going blended, and we are putting in the policies that make a difference for education, right, and sustainability. And data is key. We are moving in data-driven decision making. Asanteni sana na kwaherini.